What's up, guys? Welcome to today's show. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Fortnite World Cup. We're going to be doing a solos review first, so we'll go through each tier, try to preview as many players as we can. We'll do our draft, and then we'll continue on with the duos. Do the same thing, preview as many teams and duos that we can, do our picks, and then at the end we're going to announce the challenge or the humiliation for the CIS minor CSGO draft that we did. Right now there's an Instagram vote, so we're going to cut it off in about an hour or so, and it's between leg waxing or eating bugs.
I think right now leg waxing is winning.
Like just by a hair, if you will. So, anyways, there are 4 contests up right now for the Fortnite World Cup Finals. There's 2 solos and 2 duos. There's 1 free contest for each of those. So if you're new to fantasy esports and you're coming from Fortnite and you've never played before, you can play 100% for free. You can enter 1 lineup. And how it works is you pick 1 player from each tier. So tier 1 are your highest rated players and tier 5 are your lowest rated. You pick 1 team from 1 player or 1 duo from each tier. And then the points that those players or duos accumulate during the Fortnite World Cup will translate into fantasy points on EliteDuels. So the higher the points, the more points you get. Combined with all your players, the more fantasy points you get, and the better chance you get of winning. So here's the thing. Now you got to go. I've been practicing now for 3 months for this thing, and they've changed. I mean, there's been changes throughout the entire qualification process.
Every week.
This is a fairly big thing. To be able to know where the next circle is going to be is a huge advantage. Now, what's the rarity of this gun?
It's only legendary. It's legendary, and then the purple variant. I think it's rare or epic.
So that means it's going to be pretty hard to find.
Yeah, only a handful of people.
So that means the people who get it are going to have that's a huge advantage.
Oh yeah,
that get that because again, you get the scope in. A huge thing with BRs is knowing is positioning and RNG, right? So if you can somehow get the circle every single time, if you're sitting in the middle, the odds of you prolonging your life in the game are much higher than if you're consistently rotating to get into the circle.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
And does that have anything to do with skill?
Well, here's the thing. Like, just thinking as a player, I don't even know if I think it's that big. Like, I understand seeing where the circle would go is helpful, but most good players put themselves in a scenario that, or like in a spot where, regardless of where the storm goes, like they have everything they need. So regardless if storm's across the circle or if it's right on top of them, they're both ways they're going to be set up to get on the high ground and play. So I think you're actually going to see that gun being used by the people who qualified but still aren't as good as a lot of the people that already qualified as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it gets played.
And I feel like too, like I mean, a lot of the the battle royale kind of games I play. I mean, the circle can only end up in so many different areas. So this time we were talking about the top 100 players in Fortnite. So I mean, they're gonna know all the finishing zones that happen. So I don't think it's gonna be too much of an advantage. I would see more in duels, maybe, like you said. But I'm curious. I have a question for you guys. How does it like when you look through the scope? What do you actually see?
So it shows like a map, and it shows where the
it's like
circle
a map
would go.
in like the bottom left circle.
I'm just building
while
off
you
it.
scope in, eh?
Once you're in moving zone, it's actually not going to be. It's not going to matter.
No, once
regardless,
it's
moving.
It's more so for early game.
Yeah,
your second or third zone.
It's for third and fourth zone.
Because then you could go like say once it's second zone, which most people are done fighting, right? Your first zone, you land. You're gonna fight off spawn. Typically, it's super rare. You're not fighting, right? So second and third zone, when you're not fighting, to have the ability to know where the next zone is going to be and get yourself dead center. So it gives you the best possibility to get the fourth zone or the fifth zone, and you're still in the middle and you don't have to rotate. That's where the advantage comes in.
Yeah, for sure.
Having it off first or second zone, not so much, but third, fourth zone, it's a huge advantage. And I agree. I think what we're going to see is what Epic intended when they first released the game, to what the game to be like. You're not going to see as many build fights as people think they're going to see. Just because the simple fact that, first of all, no one wants to die early. And when the stakes are this high, you only have 6 games to accumulate as many points as possible. And you're at the best of the best with $30 million on the line. So by dying early or playing super aggressively, you're probably going to put yourself at a huge risk of getting shot in the back, disadvantage. And again, it's one thing to be playing against the top 3,000 players in NA East or EU. You're playing against the top 100 players in the world who qualified for a reason.
And
this is a whole
qualify, you
other
have to come
level.
like first in the week.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Second, so
you make a mistake, you get shot in the head pretty
best
quick.
of the best.
And the majority, I'd say 99% of the time, when these players who qualified engaged other players, they're players who weren't going to qualify or players that are not even close on the same skill level. It's completely different. So, again, I think what would be better in terms of competitive BRs is that take some of the RNG out of it. So right now there's many variants of guns, right? In my opinion, there should only be one.
Yeah.
There should be, because when you come to skill level, there should be no difference in, okay, we both have shotguns, but because mine is blue and his is purple, we could do the same shot at each other's heads. His is going to do more damage than mine because he has a purple gun.
Yeah.
And that had nothing to do with skill. That had just to do with everything to do with RNG and luck on finding that gun or killing somebody with that gun.
And what I think, I don't know if many of you guys know, but Fortnite actually hired Overwatch's competitive director because it was clear that Epic Games had no idea what the hell they were doing.
They needed him.
And we've actually seen changes. So the big thing that everyone's been pushing for is separate loot pools because there's guns that are useless.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we actually have seen that we're starting to kind of shift towards that. So the Storm Flip is not going to be in here. The jetpacks are in common games now, but that's not going to be in. And it's just slowly new items are coming in, but Epic is like, especially from the new director, because he said that one of his main priorities was to get the competitive integrity. And you're just seeing him slowly, like, I don't know if it's maybe from him or it's actually Epic Games listening to the community, but slowly they are actually listening to what people want and what the pros are saying.
If anything,
the other guy, I'm leaning more towards either Whale or Snow. The other guy was Snow. Snow was a very similar player to Epic Whale, consistently getting to endgame, but one of the things he was really good at is doing his jump shots with a shotgun, especially the pump shotty.
Yeah,
it was like every shot 160, 170. Very good at that. So it's other than that, there's not that much difference between the two players, in my opinion. So it's just one of those things where whether you want to lean towards, do you think it's going to be more long distance or mid range fighting, or going to be close range, right? Who can stay alive and understand how to stay alive longer. So in terms of that, I'm actually going to lean towards Snow XD because I believe it's going to be most of the kills are going to come late game, and having him have the ability to hit really good shotgun shots, I'm going to draft Snow, my first pick.
I'm going to go with Stompy. He's just one of the most consistent. I think he was the most consistent EU player, and I think a lot of this tournament is going to consist of EU and NAE. So I just want to make sure that I at least have someone who's been playing against the majority. Like, I think if you have an Oceania player, it's going to be really hard because they wouldn't have gotten any scrim experience with EU and NA East players.
Yeah, same with Brazilians.
Until this week,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stompy on this one.
So I was going to go Tfue, but then Mark just kind of swayed me into going with Epic Whale. So I think I'm going to go with Epic Whale.
But here's the thing. I
like Tfue.
I think this type of format favors a player like Tfue.
You think?
The guys that we're taking right now are very similar playstyle to Tfue.
I think Tfue's one of the smartest positional players.
It's understanding
hands down,
the guys who are going to win this are the guys who understand that I don't overextend, number one, right? Take smart fights. So pick third-party everything, hold guys out from Storm, and understand that my number one priority is to get into a proper position to hold people out.
Yeah.
If they're chasing and constantly looking for kills, and here's another thing too, that's going to change everything. So this is a LAN event. Everyone has 0 ping.
Yeah.
That means technically no walls should ever be stolen if everyone has 0 ping. Now, a lot of these players who qualified, and when I'm eagle through the VODs, they exploited that like crazy because they had really low ping. They were able to take walls in box fights, and almost all of them would chase for box fights.
Yeah.
You cannot do this in this event. You cannot. So that's why I'm putting an emphasis on skill and IQ, or aiming and IQ versus just pure building and taking walls. Because I don't think that's going to play an advantage at all to the guys who qualified that way.
That kind of ties into my pick because I'm going to go with Epic Whale, and I think it really could come down to what you said before, Mark. Like, they're going to get all their kills in the end game there, And Epic Whale is one of those guys who I feel like kind of thrives in those situations where he's in a bad position and he needs to get himself out of it. That's why I chose Epic Whale.
I firmly believe you have to stay away from Dubs in this event.
Yeah.
I think his play style translates well to qualifications and just playing in general servers where it's not the same server every time. But if you go look at how he qualified, 80 to 90% of his kills was being aggressive and box fighting people.
Yeah.
He consistently took walls every single time. Every time he took walls. And like I said, everyone's on land here. Everyone has the same ping.
Yeah.
It's not number one. You're not going to be able to take walls as easy. Number two, you're box fighting against the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And number three, trying to take a box fight with, say, 50 other people watching you.
Yeah, you're gonna
you're gonna get beamed.
Yeah, I'm picking him for that aggressive play style. I want to see because I mean we've seen the meta before, but with the different gun and everything going on in here, we may see a little bit change. And I'm okay if Dubs, if he wants to be aggressive right off the get go, get a couple kills, get lots of resources, get yourself a leg up on the competition where you are right now. That's fine. I think you could go far, but like you said, Mark, if he wants to do that aggressive. Towards the late game, it's obviously not going to be a good turnout.
If we knew for a fact that it was going to be build fight after build fight and 1v1s, I would say 100%. You have to pick a guy who's a really good builder because that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact that's not going to happen here.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just pick build fights in the middle of the a second or third circle because people are just going to be praying for that.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking for people who are fighting, so that they can hit their shots. And like I said, again, you could pick in qualification, you could pick those fights and not get beamed. Because, there could be people looking for third parties, but they're not the best players in the world looking for third parties. These are the best players in the world who have the best aim in the world.
Hopefully he will change his mentality towards the end game. I mean, he is
but he's super young.
Yeah,
he's
with
very,
FaZe,
very young.
I mean, he's under contract. He's got to win some money,
He's very young. I firmly believe he's a liability. I don't want anything. I don't trust him at all to be on my fantasy team. So, I actually have the same player that Nick took. I'm taking Lestream Skite. He is probably in my opinion, one of the smartest players out there. Very high IQ. He's very good at storm tracking. Like if you watch all of his games, he made sure he never took any storm damage. He was really good at movement. So I think that's what's going to be one of the main factors in winning this and getting placement points. And out of placement points count towards your fantasy points, right? So
exactly.
That's why I put an emphasis on a guy like him. So I'm taking Lestream Skite. And I was actually stuck between Shark and Pika, between those two guys.
Really?
Yep. But I'm going to be going with Rogue Shark, and the only reason I chose Shark over Pika was simply region and difficulty of region. So that's why I take Rogue Shark.
Interesting.
I'm gonna go with Bizzle.
Bizzle.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow with Aaron. I'm gonna go with Ghost Bizzle as well.
Say Bizzle was on my radar, but I don't know, maybe I'm more of a character guy, but I like MrSavage better.
Yeah.
I like the way he plays, and I like his communication with Epic Whale, or Benji, when he was playing with Benji. So, I don't know, I just seen a lot of him play, and I think he's going to go far.
All right.
But it was a close call between Rogue Shark. I was really thinking Rogue Shark. I went with MSF Klass.
So I did like Benji Fish, but just like we just talked about Issa, I'm going to stick with the Ghost path. I'm going to go with Ghost Issa in this case.
I'm just having a hard time between Klex and Benji.
Oh, yeah.
I know Klex is probably one of the best. He's probably one of the best 1v1 players.
Yeah.
And I think he's good at build fights, but I feel like I was watching VODs of him, and it's almost like he's panicking. Not panicking, but he thinks too impulsively and doesn't really actually think in the long term what will happen on his decisions. So I'm thinking that he might be putting himself in scenarios that will get him killed, especially by pros. So I'm actually going to go Benji on this one.
Oh, you guys are killing my freaking drafts.
I agree with Clicks. Clicks and Dubs are almost identical players. Like the way they play is very similar.
They teamed up for trios.
Yeah,
because of that.
They're almost the exact same players. They're super aggressive. They're very young, and when it comes to being young, most kids that are young are very aggressive.
Yeah.
And they're usually the best. They're the best at playing aggressive, right? And most of the time when they're fighting people, they're not fighting players who are top 100 players,
Mhm.
right? So that's fine. And if you ever watch those YouTube videos where pros are 1v1ing each other, like Clix has been challenging everyone, you never, ever, ever see a fight like that in the actual game. Ever. As soon as one guy gets high ground, the other guy boxes up and he's like, okay, I'm done. If you want to fight, then come. There's no point in trying to retake high ground at that point.
No, yeah.
The only time you can take the only time to think about retaking high ground is late game when people are moving and fighting, and you can try to make a move to get up top. Right at that point, you might have a little bit of a build fight, but it's like it'll last like maybe 5 seconds at most, and it's done.
Yeah.
Right, because you don't want to overextend. I think Clix falls in the same thing here as Dubs. I think they're both going to, unless they drastically change their playstyle. I think if they try to do the same thing that they've been doing, I think they're going to they're going to die to third parties a lot.
I think too, because they're so young, they'll be able to adapt pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. So in terms of for this, I think I'm going on a more of a personal level here. I think NRG Benji Fish has the most amount. Like obviously, there's a lot to play for here, but clearly he's very motivated to try and win as much money as possible.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think he has a good understanding. And watching, so Benji Fish and Savage both kind of have the same play style. They play relatively aggressive, but only take the smart fights, right? Like their main goal is to try to grab as much real estate as possible, extend as much as possible, and get kills mostly at the end. So for that reason, and he's a really good builder too. So my only concern with Benji Fishy is going to be aim, right? So AR aiming and spamming. Is it going to be there because he plays on high sensitivity? I don't know, but my pick's going to be Benji Fishy. Simply, and he beats out Clix simply because I believe Clix is way too aggressive, and it's too risky to pick.
Interesting.
Tier 5. A lot of good picks here.
A lot of good picks.
But again, so for me, my team, I really only have one player that plays semi-aggressively. The rest are going to be, I went for high IQ players and conservative players who play for placement. So for this, I'm taking Cease.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go with Mongrel.
No way.
Last minute changed, actually. I had Mongrel till about 5-10 minutes ago. And I've just been thinking, like, Cease is a lot older. And I've just been watching where Mongrel's staying at right now before World Cup. He's in that FaZe house with the other qualifiers. And I just feel like they're not putting in the time that they should be, and they look a lot more distracted than I would like to see from a top player, because Mongrel is very good, but I think he's young and doesn't really realize what's happening. So I think I'm going to go with Cease on this one too.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the stream. I'm going to go with Blacksu from the stream.
Well, I went with kind of a nonchalant pick here. I went with Aspect, mainly just because of his qualifier stats. He had I guess there was 10 games. He won 3 with 3.67 KDA. I was like, not too bad at all. And I like that. I like the aggressive players. So, and I think Aspect 2 is going to be the aggressive player, also with that high IQ that Mark was looking for in his players. So I think I'm getting the best of both worlds with Aspect.
Are you a gamer looking for something more than just playing? Introducing EliteDuels, the world's first skill-based daily fantasy esports platform that allows you to make your own fantasy esport team, cheer your favorite professional gamer, earn fantasy points, and win real cash. You can choose and enter a contest for games like Fortnite, CSGO, Rocket League, and Rainbow Six Siege. Simply enter a contest, select 5 players, 1 from each tier, to fill out your fantasy team, and start cheering. Sounds amazing, right? Visit www.eliteduels.com and start drafting.